Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. The second I heard that arcade music blaring through the phone, I knew something was off. It was loud. Claw machines, kids screaming, whatever chaos comes with flashing lights and cheap prizes. But what made my stomach drop was Denise's voice, casual as hell, saying, "Oh yeah, Parker's waiting outside. They wouldn't let me bring Clementine in. I was halfway through a licensing seminar I'd had booked for 2 months. Mandatory. No reschedule options. I had asked Denise to do one thing, pick up my 6-year-old from school and keep him for an hour. 1 hour. She'd practically begged for the chance, all breathy and inspired, telling me she wanted to be more involved, that Parker needed more creative energy around him. Quick note, before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? I'd hesitated. Denise wasn't what anyone would call stable, but she was my sister, and she'd seemed so sure. More creative energy, my ass. I didn't even hang up. I just grabbed my bag and walked out. Didn't say a word to the instructor. I was in my car in under a minute, hands shaking, adrenaline pumping, picturing all the worst case scenarios because I didn't know what outside meant. Outside where? The entertainment center was in a strip mall. Was he sitting on a bench? Wandering the parking lot? What if someone had? I ran every red light from downtown to the mall. I found him sitting cross-legged on the concrete outside a smoothie place, calmly coloring in his sketchbook like it was just another Thursday. Little dinosaur hoodie pulled up, a cup of melted ice nearby, no adult in sight. When he saw me, he smiled. "Hi, Mommy." Auntie D said, "Wait right here." I crouched and checked him over. He was fine. Thank God. Then I looked up and spotted Denise coming out of the arcade, sunglasses on, leash in hand, her stupid cat trotting beside her in that ridiculous rhinestone harness. She saw me and gave this shrug like it was no big deal. "Now you know how it feels when someone ignores your baby," she said. Dead serious. She meant the cat. Clementine. I didn't yell, didn't scream or make a scene. I took Parker's hand and stood up. "Come on, buddy," I said. "We're going home." Denise just watched us walk to the car like nothing had happened. And in that moment, something in me snapped. Quietly, like a switch flipping off. No tears, no arguments, just done. That was the last time I asked Denise for help with anything. We got home, I gave Parker a snack, and he sat down to finish his drawing like nothing had happened. Like his whole body hadn't been dangling in some unspoken version of danger just an hour ago. That's how it was with him. Resilient, but too trusting. He still thought, Auntie D was fun. He still smiled when she called. He didn't know better yet. But I did. Denise and I weren't close in the way people think sisters should be. Growing up, I was the one who held it all together. Grades, chores, carpooling. Denise? She cried when her goldfish died and needed 3 days off school. Sensitive didn't even cover it. She was like a balloon, floaty, fragile, easily popped. Mom used to whisper, "Let her be, she feels things deeper," which meant I handled everything else. I paid for my first car, paid for college, took night classes, got licensed, built a client base from scratch. Denise bounced between phases like she was trying on different lives for size. One year it was photography. Next, she was painting shoes and selling them on Etsy. She lasted a semester in art school, 3 months as an event planner, and about 10 days as a mobile crystal reader in a Sprinter van she rented with my co-signed credit. Now she called herself a cat lifestyle influencer. Her entire world revolved around Clementine, a ragdoll rescue she dressed in sweaters and rolled around in a pastel designer stroller. The cat had a Pinterest-famous birthday party last year. There were branded cupcakes and a balloon arch taller than my fridge. I paid for it, though no one knew that part. Denise had a whole Instagram dedicated to Clementine's journey. Thousands of followers, fake brand partnerships. One time, she spent $200 on a photo shoot just to post a sponsored message about feline inner peace. She lived rent-free in a loft I helped her qualify for. My name's still on the lease. I floated her groceries half the time without her knowing it, just covering overdrafts and topping off accounts so her cards wouldn't decline. I didn't brag about it, didn't hold it over her. That wasn't the point. I kept thinking, eventually she'll grow up. She'll hit some switch and start caring about something besides herself. And yeah, I hoped Parker would be that switch. He's smart, funny, kind in a way that's almost too pure for this world. I thought maybe, just maybe, helping raise him, even for an hour here or there, would snap her out of it. Give her a little perspective. a sense of responsibility. Instead, she chose a cat. I don't even know when it happened. When she decided Clementine was her baby, she never said it as a joke, either. She meant it. Carried that thing around like a toddler, bought her outfits, little hats, even one of those silicone feeding mats shaped like a cloud. I walked into her place once, and she was spoon-feeding Clementine boiled chicken on a bar stool like it was completely normal. But nothing about Denise's life was ever normal. It was curated, a fantasy she kept polishing and reposting until it looked believable, and I let it slide. For years. Because I thought if I pushed too hard, she'd crumble, and I'd be the bad guy. Again. But after seeing Parker sitting there alone, on the sidewalk, holding onto a crayon like it was the only adult he could count on, something flipped. Not rage, not hate, just clarity. That little hope I'd been holding onto, that someday she'd step up, it died right there next to the smoothie shop, and I didn't even feel bad. Thing is, none of this should have surprised me. Not after the pitch. It was a few days before the smoothie shop disaster. Denise showed up to my office unannounced, swinging in like she had a TED Talk queued up. She wore this oversized blazer with shoulder pads and carried a floral tote bag bursting with paper. I was between client calls and didn't even get a warning text. Just her barging in, eyes lit up like she was about to change the damn world. "I have it," she said, like she was delivering good news. The idea. I already knew what was coming. But I closed my laptop and gave her the floor. She spread out a vision board like we were back in ninth grade economics class. Stock photos of cappuccinos, cats in bow ties, someone working on a laptop next to a litter box. She slid over a stapled packet of Canva mock-ups, logo options, color palettes, and one page labeled Vibes. Then she looked me dead in the face and said, "All I need is 40,000. I didn't laugh. I didn't even blink. I just said, "For what exactly?" She launched into a speech about creatives needing a third space that wasn't home or work, but where their cats could join them. Hence the name, the Meow Space. I swear to God. She said it like it was genius. "There's nothing like it in the city," she insisted. "It's a lifestyle brand." A whole ecosystem I let her go on. I let her roll out the dream, talk about influencer collabs, biodegradable litter stations, wall hammocks for cats to lounge on while their humans journal. I sat through every single slide. Then I said, "Denise, do you have a business plan? A lease? A breakdown of costs?" She froze, then smiled like I was missing the point. "I'm not a spreadsheet person," she said. "That's your thing. I'm vision, your structure. It's like, we're a team." "No, we're not," I said. "Not when 40 grand is involved." Her smile cracked. "You don't believe in me?" she said, voice all quiet and wounded, like I'd just kicked her damn cat. "That's not what this is," I said, keeping calm. "I deal with real businesses. People with actual numbers, projections, tax history. This is a mood board, Denise. It's not an investment." She crossed her arms. "It's always the same with you. You get to decide what's real. You get to hold the purse strings. You think because I don't live in a spreadsheet, I'm not worth taking seriously." I stood up. "It's not personal. It's just not a smart investment." She grabbed her bag in a huff, yanked the vision board off my desk, and muttered, "Financial control. That's what this is." Just like Mom said. Then she stormed out, nearly knocking over a plant on the way. I sat back down, rubbed my temples, and went straight into my next client call. She didn't text me after that. No updates, no follow-ups. Just silence. Not until I called her from the seminar and heard Parker was waiting outside a smoothie shop while she walked her cat around like royalty. And when I think back to that pitch, the total lack of preparation, the way she tried to guilt me when I didn't immediately throw money at her, I realized she didn't want support. She wanted obedience. I didn't make a speech. Didn't send a dramatic, "we're done" text. I just opened my laptop, logged into my accounts, and started cutting the lines. Credit cards first, 2 of them. One was technically hers, the other one she swore she only used for emergencies. She used it for Uber Eats and cat diapers. Then the rent. The payment was scheduled under my name. Auto-paid like clockwork every month. I canceled it. No warning. Just stopped. I waited for the explosion, but nothing came. Not right away. She didn't even notice at first. That was the part that got me. She didn't feel the ground shifting beneath her. That's how far removed she was from her own responsibilities. Days passed. Silence. Then, Sunday morning, my phone buzzed. Over and over. "Denise, The card declined at Pet World. WTF, Denise. Did the bank mess something up? My rent bounced, Denise. Hello? I waited a few hours, drank my coffee, played Uno with Parker at the kitchen table. Finally, I wrote back, me. You'll need to cover it yourself going forward. That was it. One sentence. Then the voicemail started. Long, drawn-out rants. Her voice fake calm at first, then cracking around the edges. You really think this is fair? After everything I've done for you? For Parker? I've been there. I showed up. And now you're punishing me because of one mistake? A pause. I wouldn't leave Clementine outside if she couldn't come in. I just thought Parker could handle 10 minutes. He's 6, not 2. He had juice and his crayons. Another pause. You're treating me like I'm garbage. Like I'm some parasite you can just cut off. Is that what this is? Financial power games? Emotional control? I didn't reply. Every time she left another message, I felt less guilty. Lighter, more sure. I wasn't punishing her. I was finally letting her live in the world she created, where everything is vibes and vision boards, and people are currency until they say no. A few days later, she posted the photo. A blurry mirror selfie. She wore a long hoodie and huge sunglasses, holding Clementine in her cat carrier like she was escaping a war zone. The caption read, "When your own sister abandons you emotionally, spiritually, and financially, but at least you have your baby." I didn't respond, but the comments started rolling in fast. Wait, what happened? You don't deserve that. Family should support you. She always seemed cold to you. People who didn't know a damn thing about me were suddenly forming opinions. Cousins, childhood friends, strangers who followed her for cat content. One even wrote, "Who cuts off their own sister over a pet?" And I just sat there reading it, my jaw tight, feeling the weight of that sentence settle like a punch I should have seen coming. That was the moment I realized Denise hadn't just been clueless. She was rewriting the story, out loud, for everyone, painting herself as the quirky little victim while I played the ice-cold villain with a calculator for a heart. But I still didn't reply, not yet. Not because I didn't want to, but because I wanted to choose my moment, carefully. Because when I finally did say something, it was gonna land like a brick. I didn't even plan to check Facebook. I was waiting for Parker to finish brushing his teeth, just killing time. And there it was, Denise's post at the top of my feed, boosted by the algorithm like it was breaking news. Same photo, same cat carrier, same sunglasses pulled low like she was trying to hide from the paparazzi. Some people will cut you out when you need them most, but at least I've got my baby over 100 likes, dozens of comments. Some people were confused, some were eating it up. Stay strong, mama. Family can be the worst. You deserve better. Wait, Marlene? Your sister Marlene? I scrolled fast. Most of them were Denise's usual crew, fellow cat influencers, old art school friends, the kind of people who think being misunderstood is a full-time job. But then I started seeing names I actually knew, real people, from our town, our family. I didn't realize things were that bad. I'm so sorry, Denise. Why would she leave you like that? I always thought Marlene was a little intense. And then it showed up, the one that snapped whatever was still holding me back. Who cuts off their own sister over a pet? I stared at it for a solid minute. My finger hovered over the keyboard. She wanted a story? Fine, I typed. She left my 6-year-old alone outside a mall. That's why. Then I hit post. Nothing fancy. No hashtags, no rage, just the truth. 10 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. A friend from college messaged me. Wait, she did what? Then another. I just saw your comment. I'm in shock. It spread fast. People started replying under my comment, tagging others. That's insane. Why didn't she say that part? Now the post makes no sense. Even people who didn't know me personally jumped in. This isn't quirky. It's reckless. That's not a mistake. That's endangerment. A cousin DM'd me that night. I thought she meant you two had, like, a fight. I didn't know it was that. That's not something you just leave out. I didn't gloat. Didn't rub it in. I just sat on the couch, Parker asleep upstairs, and felt something shift, like I'd been holding a door closed for months and suddenly let it swing open. For once, people saw her clearly. Not as the quirky victim in a hoodie with a cat on her hip, but as someone who'd crossed a line you don't come back from. Denise went quiet on social media after that. No more selfies, no passive-aggressive quotes about boundaries or vibes. Clementine's account went dark too. Not a single whisker pic or yoga pose in days. That silence said more than any caption ever could. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired, but steady. Like for the first time in years, the weight wasn't all on my back. I didn't fix anything, but I'd finally stopped hiding, and people noticed. The next morning, my phone rang before I'd even finished pouring my coffee. It was Mom. I almost didn't pick up, but I did. She sounded shaken, like she'd just read my comment for the first time and finally realized there was more to the story. "We didn't know," she said quietly. "Your father and I, we had no idea it was that serious." I didn't say anything. "She told us you cut her off because you were mad about Clementine, that you were jealous, or cold. That you didn't understand her life." I leaned against the counter, holding the mug to my chest, letting her words fall flat. She paused. "She didn't mention Parker. Not once." "No surprise there," I said. "I just wish it hadn't gotten so public." There it was. Not a defense, not a real apology, just the usual avoidance. She wasn't upset that Denise lied. She was upset that it got loud. I kept it short. "Well, it did. I'm not taking sides, Marlene. I just, you don't have to," I cut in. "It's done." She didn't push back, just gave a soft sigh and said, "Okay." Then she hung up. I stood there for a few minutes, staring at nothing, letting the silence settle around me like dust. That night, after Parker was asleep, I sat down with Jake and told him everything. Not just the smoothie shop, all of it. The years of handouts, the credit cards, the rent, the Meow Space pitch. Every stupid detail I'd been too embarrassed to say out loud before. He didn't interrupt once, just listened, calm and steady, like he always did when it really mattered. When I finished, he leaned back and said, "All right, so we find a new sitter. That simple. No blame, no judgment, no second guessing." I hadn't realized how much I needed that. Someone to just take the next step with me without picking it apart. "She's not coming near Parker again," I said. Agreed. And that was that. The next morning, I booked a sitter through an agency. Background check, references, everything tight. A woman named Laura, who showed up on time, carried a binder, and had a no-nonsense attitude that reminded me of myself. Parker liked her right away. He didn't even ask about Auntie D. That stung a little more than I expected. But also, it felt like closure, like we'd finally turned the page. 2 days after we hired the new sitter, I was folding laundry when my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. No caller ID. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something told me to pick up. "Hello? Is this Marlene?" A guy's voice, cautious, not telemarketer level fake, but not familiar either. "Yes, who's this?" "It's Oliver, Denise's boyfriend." "Well, I guess I stood still, towel half folded in my hands. "We met once," he added quickly, "at that weird rooftop party with the vegan cheese." "You probably don't remember I did," vaguely. He was the quiet guy sitting on a beanbag next to the cat stroller. "I'm calling because I need to ask you something, and I want the real answer. No drama, no filters." "Okay," I said. "Did she really leave your kid alone?" There it was. No buildup, no icebreakers, just the question that should have been asked weeks ago. "Yes," I said. "She took him to the arcade, but he wasn't allowed in because she had the cat. So she left him outside, alone, told him to wait. He's 6. Oliver didn't say anything right away. "She told me it was overblown," he finally said. "That you were exaggerating because you've always looked down on her." I didn't exaggerate anything. I picked my son up from a strip mall sidewalk. He was sitting on the ground with a smoothie and a sketchbook. There were strangers everywhere, silence again. I didn't fill it. He let out a slow breath. That's all I needed. "Thanks," click. I stared at the screen for a second, then tossed the phone on the couch and went back to folding Parker's shirts. 2 days later, I saw it. Another post from Denise. Same account, same filter, but no cat this time. Just the empty stroller sitting in her living room like a forgotten parade float. The caption, "Lost everything." I didn't even feel bad. I didn't feel much of anything. Just stared at it for a second, then kept scrolling. Later that evening, Mom called again. Her voice was softer than before, like she was trying not to stir things up. "Oliver left her," she said. "Packed up and took Clementine with him." I blinked. "Wait, he took the cat?" "Apparently, he said she wasn't fit to care for anything living." I covered my mouth with my hand and laughed. Not out of spite. Not because I wanted her to hurt. It was just the sheer irony. She abandoned a real child for a cat and then lost the cat too. Not a lesson, not a punishment, just a full circle moment I never saw coming. I didn't say anything else to Mom. I just let her finish her sighs and hang up. Then I poured a glass of wine, sat on the back steps, and watched Parker run through the sprinklers in his pajamas, squealing like nothing in the world had gone wrong. I had just put the dishes in the washer when the pounding started. Not knocking, pounding. Desperate, erratic, shaking the damn door kind of pounding. Parker looked up from the couch, eyes wide. I peeked through the blinds and felt my stomach drop. Denise. She stood on my porch in sweats, beat-up slides, and a faded hoodie that said, "Cat moms are people too," across the chest. Sunglasses way too big for her face, hair thrown in a messy top knot. No stroller, no cat, just her. I opened the door but didn't step outside. "You destroyed my life!" she screamed, voice cracking like a match. Parker flinched behind me. I turned my head. "Upstairs. Now?" He didn't argue, just grabbed his plush hawk off the floor and bolted. I stepped onto the porch, closing the door behind me. Denise started pacing, arms flailing like she was trying to swat invisible bees. "You humiliated me," she spat. "Do you even realize what you've done? Everyone thinks I'm some kind of psycho." I didn't tell anyone anything that wasn't true. She stopped pacing and pointed straight at my face. "You made Oliver leave. You made him take Clementine." I raised my eyebrows. "I didn't make him do anything." He asked a question. I answered it. "You ruined everything," she hissed. "My relationship. My platform. My credibility. I had plans, Marlene. I was building something. You think your boring little suburban life makes you better than me?" I didn't respond, just stood there, arms crossed, watching her unravel like a thread that finally hit the end of the spool. "This was never about Parker," she shouted. "You were just waiting for a reason to pull the plug. Admit it. You wanted to cut me off. You always looked down on me. You were jealous that I lived differently." I took a slow breath. "I stopped making excuses for you," I said. "That's it," she froze. "You treat accountability like an attack. You screw up, then cry when the consequences come knocking." "I didn't screw up," she started, but I cut her off. "You left a 6-year-old alone outside a mall, Denise. Not a teenager. Not a friend's kid. Your nephew, because your cat couldn't go inside." Her lip trembled, but I didn't flinch. My husband stepped into the doorway behind me, calm as ever, arms folded. He didn't say a word, just stood there. But I could feel the message behind him. "We're not doing this anymore." Denise saw him and took a step back. The fight in her eyes flickered for a second. Then she shook her head like she was snapping herself out of a trance. "You don't get to act like you're so righteous," she said, voice low now, bitter. "You're not perfect. You're just good at pretending I didn't answer." I didn't need to. She turned, yanked her sunglasses back down, and stormed off the porch. Didn't even slam the gate, just disappeared down the sidewalk, hoodie bouncing with each angry step. I stood there a while, not because I was shaken, but because I wasn't. That was the part that surprised me most. The next time I saw Denise, she was walking into our parents' house with a duffel bag and that same oversized hoodie, head down like a college kid home for break. I didn't say anything, just waved once and left with Parker. That was that. She moved in temporarily, or so they said. I knew how that would go. A week later, my mom called just to check in. Her version of small talk had a new flavor. Mild, careful references to Denise that she thought would slip past me. She's still figuring things out. She's been sleeping a lot. She's going through a lot right now. I let her talk. I didn't ask questions. She never directly said I should reach out, and I appreciated that. She knew better than to push. Apparently, Denise had been telling anyone who would listen that I'd ruined her life, that I'd weaponized the internet against her, that I'd turned Parker into a tool, a property, like I was running some kind of personal revenge campaign. Never mind that she was the one who'd gone public first. Never mind that she left a 6-year-old alone with a smoothie and sidewalk heat. I didn't respond. Not once. I focused on Parker, his school projects, swim lessons, the hawk phase he was suddenly deep into. Everything was feathers and binoculars and building nests out of paper towels. I focused on work, on cooking again, on not checking Denise's social media like it was a wound I couldn't stop poking. And I slept better. That part surprised me most. Once the noise died down, the silence felt like oxygen. Clementine, from what I heard, was thriving. Oliver started posting travel pics. Him and the cat in front of national parks, in a hammock, riding shotgun in an RV. She had a harness and little goggles. One photo had the caption, "Living life 9 times over." That one made me laugh. It wasn't bitterness, not even spite, just that weird kind of peace that settles in after you stop fighting to be understood. I wasn't angry anymore, just tired, but free. And honestly, that was enough. 3 years went by, faster than I expected. Parker was 9 now, tall for his age, and completely obsessed with anything that had wings. Planes, birds, even insects. If it could fly, he had questions. He carried binoculars everywhere. Made us stop the car once just to watch a hawk land on a streetlight. Said it was the coolest landing he'd ever seen. Our life had a rhythm now. Calm, full. He had friends. I had balance. Jake and I took turns with school drop-off. I kept my client load tight, and our weekends were quiet. Just the way I like them. No emergencies, no surprises, just peace. We filled in the spaces Denise used to dominate. Not with noise, but with normalcy. Routines. Real joy. I didn't realize how much of my energy used to orbit around her until I got it back. She moved out of our parents' place after 8 months. Launched a new project, a pet-positive lifestyle brand. Whatever that meant. She sold organic cat litter, crystal-encrusted collars, and something called emotional enrichment spray for anxious felines. It was all very but her. We stayed no contact. No texts, no birthdays, just digital distance and mutual silence. I didn't stalk her pages anymore. But one day, I was scrolling through my Explore tab and saw a familiar pair of giant sunglasses and a new product ad. Something about aligning your cat's energy with the moon cycle. I just smiled, not bitter. Not sad, just done. The person she was, the version I'd hoped she'd grow into, never showed up, and I'd finally stopped holding the door open for her. I looked over at Parker that night while he was sketching a flying machine he invented with cardboard wings and a peanut butter lid for a cockpit. He was humming to himself, happy. That was everything. So yeah, that's what happened. You think I did the right thing?